Welcome to QA Scripts. It's a one-stop solution for software automation testing tools online and classroom training needs. QA Scripts is a one-click reachable center for software quality assurance freelancing. QA Scripts is a pool of professionals with highest passion of sharing their expertise with people in need and provide quality software application to client with minimum budget. We also provide 100% hands-on experience training on open source tools such as Core Java, Selenium WebDriver, Appium, and also commercial tools such as HP Lean FT, HP UFT or QTP, and SOAP UI. We provide services to clients as freelancer to have defect-free application by performing functional, web service, and automation testing using automation tools. For training or application testing needs, please contact us using email or call details provided below.
Hi friends, welcome to QA Scripts video series. I have been asked from many students, participants as well as friends about reading data from Excel sheet, and which was a very interesting topic as well. Previously I have done one video about how to read data from Excel sheet, and which is already there in YouTube, and it has got almost 7,000 plus views. In this video, I will take the same concept, that is how to read the data from Excel sheet, but with more examples. Here I have come up with a simple example that will make you to remember all the keywords or classes which are going to helpful to read the data from Excel sheet. Let us start then looking at the example. So here is a small example what I have come up with. I think most of us know what is this all about. This is a book. Let us consider one Excel file as a book. As I am showing in the left side, here is a book. At the right side, here is a Excel file, but let us consider this whole file as a book. What book actually contains? It contains number of pages. In the same way, in the Excel file or in Excel book, you'll be having number of sheets like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. So each page is nothing but each sheet, or no, vice versa. Each sheet in an Excel sheet or Excel book is nothing but it's a kind of pages in a book. So entire file is a kind of book. Each sheet is a kind of pages. Remember these keywords. This is a book, this is a sheet. Okay, how to read from Excel book? Before reading, what you have to do is you have to connect from your program to the workbook, that is Excel book. Let's say here is the program in Eclipse, and here is a workbook or Excel book. There should be a connection between these two. Until otherwise you don't have connection, then how can it going to read? What is the connection? Connection is nothing but I need to tell to my program that where is this book or Excel file is present, whether it is there in D drive or C drive or inside the D drive, any folder you have created, and inside the folder you have placed. So that path you have to specify. By that you can have a connection. To do this, we have a class called file input stream. This is a very simple class of Java. What actually it says is the first keyword in this class is file. File is nothing but this is a file. It can be Excel file or it can be notebook or any file, but totally in general it's a file. Here we are going to take the data from this file and we are going to display in the program. Means it's an input. I'm taking from the file, means it's an input for me. For my program, it's an input. That's why file, input, and stream. Stream, I think you might have heard about a stream frequently. I'll give one example. Let's say we have two vessels, or let me show that example as well, then it will be easy. Let's analyze this graphics. So here is a vessel. It has full of water, and here is another vessel. It doesn't have much water. If I want to transfer from water from this vessel to the one which is there at the right side, I should have a connection. In the sense, there should be a kind of mediator. We use a small pipes, right? From here it will start jumping in the pipe, and here it can down. But in larger term, if you have a lake or river, you want to transfer huge amount of water from lake to another city, you cannot use a small pipe. Instead of that, you will use a stream. Stream is nothing but it's a bigger pipe, I can say that. So that's a what word we call as a stream. Stream is nothing but this will help us to transfer huge water. So here we are pumping, in the sense it's an input, and here it's a output. So let us apply the same formula or same concept in reading data from Excel sheet. So here this is a file, and we are inputting from this file to program. To do that, we need a stream. There is a class called file input stream. You can remember easily. By using this class, we need to create one object, and this class will accept the parameters. That parameter is nothing but the path of your Excel sheet. Remember, you need to specify entire Excel sheet path with extension. Don't forget to mention the extension. If it's a XLS or xlsx, based upon type of file, there are two different classes that I will explain later. But as of now, remember, you need to pass the path of Excel sheet here in the class. After having connection between program and file, I need to get hold of this file. File is nothing but here is a book, right? In order to hold that particular file or to take the control of that book, we have one class called xssf workbook. So this is a workbook, and xssf workbook is a uh, uh, 1 second. XSSF workbook is a class. This class comes from Apache POI jar. I will explain that what is Apache POI jar. As of now, think that here is a workbook. Using this workbook class, we need to create object. I have named it as a workbook. It's up to you what name you are going to say. And to this class, you have to pass the object, that is the object we have created using file input stream, that is FIS. You have to pass here as a parameter. After getting control on workbook, what is the next step is? Next step is to get the control of pages, because each book contains number of pages, or each Excel book workbook contains number of sheets. So to get the control of that sheet, there is another set of classes, that is XSSF sheet. It's very easy to remember. You need to use the object what you have created by using XSSF workbook, and here you can create one more object called sheet, and there is a one method called get sheet. So this get sheet is very helpful in order to specify what kind of sheet you are using. For example, there are so many sheets in the Excel sheet, such as sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, right? So you have to specify what is the sheet you are referring, or what is the sheet you want to read. So that name you have to specify here in the method called dot get. There is another method called dot get it, so that will accept integer. So you can specify 0, 1, 2 based upon the position of your Excel sheet. The workbook in that sheet will be there, right? That sheet number you can specify, but it's better to go for get sheet method always. Let's say here is a workbook, that is Excel workbook. Inside that I have renamed my sheet as QA, and I have given 4 rows, 3 columns data. First column is name, second column is age, third column is date, and here I have mentioned all the data. So I want to read this sheet. I want to read the data from this sheet. How to start? Very simple. I don't want to hard code anything. Instead of that, I want to know how many rows we have used. For example, here 4 rows we have used. There is a one method called get last row num. So this get last row num will count how many rows you have used. For example, here I have used 4 rows. It will return as 3 because it will count first row as 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will return 3 rows are used. If you add more data in the below rows, it will give the that row numbers as well. It's not actually row numbers, it's a count, total count of rows you have used. Then what I will do, I will use object called sheet. If you use sheet, then you can easily get the method called get last row num. So since this c dot get last row num returns count of your row, that is it will be in terms of integer value. So here I have created one variable called row count of data type int, and I will assign entire return value to that variable, that is row count. Now this row count will be having value as 3 because I have used 4 rows. After getting count, I'll put that into for loop saying for int I equals to 0, I less than row count, so that I can iterate multiple times. I am not going to hard code. Instead of that, I am going to use for loop and I will iterate. So what I will do now, I will start looking at the row, in the sense from what row I want to read the data, whether I want to read the data from first row or second row or third row. Usually in real time, what happens, the first row will be a kind of header. This is for our understanding. It's not necessary that you need to pass the data here. So let us start from a second row, that is I can make it I as 1. Here I have made it as 0. If I make it as 0, it will start reading from 0th position, that is first row. If you make it as a 1, it will start reading from second row. So I'll say from what row you have to use. Here I am saying I equals to 0. I'll use that I, and there is a method called c dot get row. So this is a method. You can specify from what row you can read the data. If you specify I, it will start reading from 0 because value of I is 0. And I will assign this entire line to one more variable called row, and this variable data type is a class called row, that is the row. This class is coming from Apache POI again. So this will be very helpful to get the count of columns we have used. Here I have used get last row num. So this will give how many rows I have used or how many rows data I have placed in the Excel sheet. Whereas once you get to know that how many rows are there and what is the row you would like to start from, then you can use that variable, and you can use one more method called get last cell number. So get last cell number is nothing but it's going to give how many columns are there. For example, here I have used 3 columns, so it will return as 2 again, because it will start from 0, 1, 2. First row will be considered as a 0, second row is 1, third row as 2. So it will return row dot get last cell num will return as 2. So I will also place in that in one more for loop. This time I will say j equals to 0, j less than row dot get cell num, then I will say j plus plus. So here I am using two for loop, one for loop for uh, rows and another for loop for columns, so that I don't need to worry about how many columns are there or how many uh, rows are there. If you change dynamically these rows and columns, still it's going to read, the program is going to read the data. Then what I will do, I will use get cell of j. J in the sense here it's going to tell from where you need to read the data cell wise. So now what happens, I is 0, j is 0. So 0 comma 0 means this cell, the data which is present, the value which is present inside this cell is going to display, that is name. And as for loop continues, j becomes 1 but I will be 0. So 0 comma 1 means age will display, like that it will go on. So now what I'll do, I'll assign to one more variable called cell, and here I'm going to display using system.out.println inside the for loop. In order to print value, you need to use one more method called get string cell value. I will tell why this method is necessary to use. So these are the simple classes or keywords we're going to use to read the data. Java has its own jar files to read the data, that is JLX jars what we call, but those jar files are helpful to read the data from Excel only. If you remember, few years back we were using older version of Windows. At that time the file extension was XLS itself, but when we got updated version of Microsoft, that is Microsoft Windows 10 or Profession, the extension of Excel had changed from .xls to .xlsx. Let me show that. Here you can see the file extension, that is book.xlsx. But earlier, if you look at Microsoft version 95, Windows 95, we were using a file extension called .xls. Now it is changed to xlsx. So the JLX jar files are comfortable to read the data or work with XLS file itself. These jar files are not comfortable with XLSX, that is updated version of XLS file. So in order to read data or to work with XLSX file, Apache have developed some jar files, that is what we call as Apache POI. So those jar files need to download from a site, Apache website. Then we need to add those jar files as a external jars to our project, then only it will work. If you want to work with XLS, then inbuilt Java classes are enough, their JLX jar files are enough. But if you want to work with XLSX format, then you need to download Apache POI. How to download Apache POI jars? Very simple. Search Apache POI in Google. You will get this link. Click on Apache POI download. It will navigate to the website called poi.apache.org. This is open source jar files again. So here you can see some sections with version, that is POI 3.13. This is a latest version. Here is the zip file. You need to download from binary. Don't download from source. It will not be having jars. Download from binary section. You can either click on the link which is present here, but it's a tar file. You need to extract it. Otherwise, you can click on this link. This is a zip file. I prefer this zip file because we can easily unzip it. So as soon as you click on the link present here, it will take you to another page where you'll be having a mirror link. If you click on that mirror link, it will start downloading the zip file. So I clicked on the link which is present here. It will take some time and it will start downloading here. The download is started. So here you can see the zip file. The zip file got downloaded. Let me extract first, then let's see what are the different jar files we have in that file. Here is the extracted file. Let me open this. Inside the extracted file you'll be having a folder called POI. If you open that POI folder, you'll be able to see some of the jar files. So here are the POI jars. You need to add these jar files first to project. Apart from that, you need to add the jar files which are present inside the OOXML lib. There is a one jar file and there are few jar files in the lib folder. So you need to add these jar files as well. That's it. You don't need to worry about docs folder. It doesn't have any jar files. Instead of that, there are some other folders and files. Let us not worry about those files and folders, but only these jar files which are present outside the folders, as well as jars which are present in OXML lib and lib folder, we need to add to our project. How to add these jars to project? Let's see. Here is my project called demo, and I will right click on this demo. If you are in navigator view, better to right click, then go to properties, and here click on Java build path. Or usually people will be working in package explorer view. If you are in package explorer view, you can right click on the project, and here you can see build path. So if you move your cursor on build path, you can see there's a one option called configure build path. Both are one and same. It's only different ways to open this window. Here, as I was saying, there is a one option called Java build path. Click on Java build path. In the Java build path, you'll be able to see four different tabs such as source, projects, libraries, order, and export. As of now, don't worry about source, project, or this tab. You need to worry about the library for tab itself. Here, if you click on libraries, you can see a button called add external jars. Since the Apache POI jars are developed by other than Java originator, they are all going to consider as external jars. So you need to add them as a external jars. Even Selenium jars also external jars. So click on the add external jars, then go to the place where you have the Apache POI jars you have downloaded and unzipped, right? So those files, sorry, jars has to be added. I have downloaded 3.13, but I can also use older version, that is 3.9. So let me open this folder. Here I have the jars outside the folders. Let me select first, then click on open. So I have added these jars. Click on add external jars again. Now click on OXML, select all of them and click on open. Again click on add external jars. This time but go back and open a lib, select all, then open. That's it. All the jar files you have added as external jars, and those external jars will be placed inside a referenced libraries. If you are in package explorer, if you are in navigator, it will not show. Now we are good with uh, Apache POI, jars, and project. I can create one class and I can start reading the data from one Excel sheet. Let us see that part in my next video. If you have any questions or suggestions, and if you want to come back for training, please call us to the numbers what I have given here. If you are calling from USA, call to 214-799-6266. You are calling from India, you can call me to the number 8095916908, or you can also mail me using info@qascripts.com or qascripts25@gmail.com. We will reply back with more details. Thank you for watching. Let us meet again in next video where we are going to script to read the data from Excel sheet. Thank you.